you never know what's going to happen. But with the rules I have, you mitigate the risk. So what I'm trying to do with the rules is trying to not lose money.
Yeah.
So if I don't lose money, I end up making money.
Rule number one, baby. Never lose money. Yeah.
I mean, I had a trade the other day that, it was funny, the trade went bad, but I stuck by the rules. So my money was tied up. It wasn't a whole lot of money. Maybe it was
Hello, you're listening to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, presented by Brandon Elliott. This show will be going over all aspects of real estate investing and is intended to educate, motivate, and prepare you to take action on your first or next real estate investment. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Brandon Elliott. I hope you guys are all doing well today. It's that time of the season right now. We got somebody in the game that's been, doing real estate since he was 18 years old, 42 years in the game. And that is why I am most excited to really be able to see all the learning curves, most likely, that I can imagine that you've been through, that you fixed all those problems and just on your way up. At this moment, you've been focusing more on building that retirement plan, right? Like we were talking before we started recording, the importance behind everybody should have some buy and holds. I'm a big advocate of that as well. I'm very blessed that I mistakenly got into buy and holds first with doing the BRRRR strategy. I just didn't know any better, but that has blessed me tremendously. And I think a lot of people put that on the back burner initially. They see what's hot right now, the fix and flips or wholesaling or whatever it is, but that's just a high paying job with a lot of risk, right? And a team, systems, everything else in place. But when you're buying hold, the tax benefits, the cash flow, and so much more that can really take place from that, it can be really tremendous in the long run. So you're building up more for a retirement plan and setting yourself up for success. What, 50,000 plus monthly income from all of your real estate deals.
Next week, it'll be probably another 10 or 15.
Let's go, baby.
I'm closing a mobile home park in 2 weeks.
Okay, cool. I love it. So Larry, you got this education as well, investor schooling. You've been doing this for a long ass time, which is incredible. Talk to me, and for anybody that doesn't know exactly who you are, where you're from, and how you got to this point today, do you mind just giving that 30,000 foot view for the listeners?
Wow. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, so just bullet points, baby.
Yeah. So I was 18 years old when I decided to buy my first property. What was interesting, I was working for a company called Crazy Eddie. Some of you may remember it, some of you don't. And I was a technician there. And one of the technicians there, he was a little bit older than me. He was buying properties in a town named Belmore, New Jersey. And he was fixing them up and renting them out. And I'm like, wow, if he could do it, I could do it. Hey, you remember when you were 18, Brandon? I realized that wasn't that long ago. But you remember how smart you were when you were 18?
Yeah, real moron. I could see with my nephew. And,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
So me, I know everything, right? So I go and I figure out I'm going to go buy my first property. And the funny part was I was actually at a local gym. And at the time, 42 years ago, like if you went to the gym now and you wanted to ride the stationary bike or elliptical, what would you do to entertain yourself?
I would probably be on my phone, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly, right?
Yeah, but back then, maybe a book.
But yeah, right. Right. It's funny. Like 42 years ago, you had to read a book, right?
Yeah.
So I go to the gym one day and I forget my book. So in the front of the gym, they had these books called the real estate book, which is funny because, they used to be really thick. All the listings of all the real estate stuff was in these books. And that's all there was. There was no computers. There was no nothing. So I grabbed that book and I started flipping through and I find this house in Easton, Pennsylvania for $26,500 for a 2-family house. So now, this Easton, Pennsylvania, turns out was about an hour and a half from my house. I had no idea where this place was, but I called the real estate agent. I said, show me the house. So I go there. She shows me the house, and I end up buying that house with absolutely no money out of my pocket. I learned how to do it, and I was making a positive cash flow of about $200 a month. And then I made the very first biggest mistake I ever made in my real estate career about a year later when I sold the house for a 50% profit.
Yeah.
Right?
I thought that's what you were going to say.
Yeah, right. I started doing buy and holds for quite a while, and you must remember 2006, 7, 8. Were you were you in 7th grade then?
No, I was graduating high school in 2008, but in my area and just, I grew up in New Jersey, South Jersey, and I was just totally ignorant, grew up American poor. So very blessed, but still had no idea that we were in a collapse or a crash. Had no idea.
That's great, right? So, but here's what happened in 2006 and 7. I was buying properties, I was making money, I was making cash flow, I was doing everything right.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, because I've been doing it for a while, that's about 20 years into my real estate career. And then there were people that were buying houses, I don't know, let's say for $100,000, and 3 days later they were worth 150, or at least so they thought, right? And the crazy part was, I said, well, I must be doing something wrong. So I had this great strategy of buying properties the right way, paying for them the right amount of money, making sure that the rent paid them, paid the properties. And then I decided to change my strategy to something called the stupid and greedy strategy.
Yeah.
So I started buying houses in 2006 and 7 that didn't cash flow, overpriced houses, just ridiculous deals. So come 2008, in 2008, I actually owned $3.9 million worth of real estate. I owned about $3 million on it, which isn't bad, right? But then come 2008, boom, everything went south. So those properties that were worth about $3.9 million were now worth about $1.2 million. And by the time I went to the bankruptcy court, by the way, I had no choice.
Yep.
The trustees sold them off at $750,000.
Wow.
So it was an amazing, transformation. So come 2008, I'm broke. I have no money. I have no properties. And I decided I wanted to get back into real estate. Now, I can't go to a bank because I had a 420 credit score. So I started learning techniques such as how to buy properties with absolutely no money, using private lenders, buying properties subject to the right way, not some of the ways that some people teach it now, which is a whole other argument we could have.
Yeah.
But doing all this the right way. And then I realized all of a sudden I owned a whole bunch of properties again, and I was making some great cash flow. So
Wow.
I actually retired, if you want to call it retired. I mean, I just stopped working in a normal 9-to-5 job about 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And everybody listening going, oh, I can't wait to retire. I can't wait to retire. Let me tell you something right now. Retirement is the most boring thing you'll ever do. So I couldn't stand it anymore. So then I started teaching people how to do this. And I ended up opening a school. I had a property that I had empty. It was a commercial building. I had it empty. I turned it into a school called Investor Schooling. This is it right here. And what I do is I actually teach people how to invest in real estate, how to invest in the stock market, how to make more money, how to pay less taxes, how to set themselves up to never have a problem like the one I had. Because honestly, if anything happens to me right now, I don't own any of my properties. All my properties are in trusts. They are not in LLCs. And anybody putting properties in LLCs is still an amateur.
I love that. Wow, there's so much to unpack here. I got to go down the rabbit hole of understanding the trust setup. I have a trust. I have a living trust and then a revocable trust.
The living trust is a mistake.
Yeah, but I'm curious about the structure of that. So we got to get to that. But first off, I want to talk about the mindset. When it comes down to 2008, so many people were demolished, devastated. Broken in so many ways of that point, and they just totally gave up, like sick to their stomach of even thinking about real estate.
Dumbasses.
Yeah. Why not you though? Like,
I had a plan, man. This was a business decision. I looked at the numbers. I said, there's no way I can ever recover from this. So I'm going to make this business decision. The very next day, I actually went to a car dealership and bought a car and financed it. You know why? Because I knew that I had to rebuild my credit.
Yeah.
So I went to the car dealership. It was funny because I went to the car dealership and I pick out this car. I go, I'll take that one. I literally pointed out, I'll take that one. And the guy takes me into the finance desk, and the finance manager, they can't wait to talk to you. They can't wait to give you a deal, and they can't wait to sell you the service contract, whatever they do, right? And he's all excited because he's, this guy's going to make his sale today, and another guy's going to make his sale today. And he asked me for my social security number, my date of birth, my name, and his expression was like, huh? He looks over the computer and he goes, Mr. Steinhouse? I'm like, yeah. He goes, your credit score is 420. I'm like, yeah, I know. He goes, well, I could get you a loan, but it'll be like 24% interest. I'm like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And he couldn't understand why I wanted to do that. The reason I wanted to do that is that had to be the very first start of me rebuilding my credit.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wasn't very long after. It was maybe about 6 or 7 years after that I bought a Corvette Z06 from the dealer with absolutely no money out of my pocket at 3.2% interest. So I knew what I was doing. I knew how I was rebuilding my credit. I knew it was going to work. In fact, right now, I have almost $1 million worth of available credit on credit cards alone.
Yep. I love that. I'm a big advocate of it. I believe in it for sure.
Oh, look at that. I love it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's how I got started into real estate. I was too dumb. I didn't know any other way. I didn't believe anybody would ever give me money. So I figured out how to utilize credit cards to be able to liquidate it into cash, get high limits, and do the same thing.
Yeah.
So talk to me, when it comes down to stocks, talk to me about that for a sec. Why stocks? Most people that are real estate investors, they're like, they either stay away from stocks or they're knee deep into stocks and then, don't touch real estate. That's just my 2 cents from a long distance of what I've seen.
Right. So,
but you do both.
I started learning right around 2008, 2009.
Yeah.
I didn't have much money lying around, so I started learning something called stock options.
Yep.
So you could start with stock options, maybe $1,000, maybe $2,000, and you could turn it into great numbers. Well, what was happening was I learned how to trade stock options. I didn't really learn how to trade them profitably. And then one day I sat down, about 4 years into it, I sat down and I started realizing that, I'm not really making any money. Let me look over my trades. So I looked over my trades, and it actually turned out that in the 4 years, I actually made $8,000, which is a surprise, but I was glad that I had made money. At least I was positive.
Yeah.
And then I started writing a set of rules like, hey, how come I was up in this trade? Why did I sell it so early? I was down in this trade. Why did I stick into it? So I started writing a set of rules, and I actually came up with 17 rules called the Rules of the Crazy Options Trader. And with those rules, as soon as I started trading those rules, I made $80,000 that year. And then I probably made total, somewhere between $1.5 and $2 million since then trading stock options.
Let's go. Not bad at all.
It's fun. It's fun too. It's also fun.
Is it?
It really is. Yeah.
What's the fun part that you like in it?
Well, it's like, the excitement.
Yeah, the excitement. Yeah.
You roll the dice and you see what happens. But But with the rules that I have, you can never predict the future. You can never, you never know what's going to happen. But with the rules I have, you mitigate the risk. So what I'm trying to do with the rules is trying to not lose money.
Yeah.
So if I don't lose money, I end up making money.
Rule number 1, baby. Never lose money. Yeah.
I mean, I had a trade the other day that it was funny. The trade went bad, but I stuck by the rules. So my money was tied up. It wasn't a whole lot of money. Maybe it was I don't know, maybe it was $4 or $5 grand. But I stuck by the rules, and I ended up, if I would have gotten out early, I would have lost 90% of my money.
Yeah. See, now this is some of that wisdom.
Right. I stuck by the rules and I made $25 on the trade.
I love it. Yeah.
So it actually works. The rules work. But again, I'm sorry. I cut you off.
No. What I was saying was that's part of the wisdom of that I wanted to kind of extract from you here, because kind of going back from the rules back in the day when you had something perfect and at the end of the day, you were following your rules. You were doing what was right, morally, ethically, getting money creatively with real estate. And then 2007, 2008 came around and everybody and their grandmother's doing stuff that doesn't make sense. And you broke the rules, right? You jumped.
Exactly right. I broke my own rules. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So now you learned from that mistake. You don't break your rules anymore. You have them.
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. We're all human, right?
Right. Especially with these rules, they're emotional. So sometimes it's hard. Like sometimes I'll even do a play that's outside of the rules and I'll end up losing money. I'm like, see, if I would have just followed the rules, I wouldn't have lost money.
Yeah. It's a good reminder, though. At least you have it written down and it's a good reminder. Talk to me now. So you do a lot of creative stuff. At the end of the day, your bread and butter that you like to focus on is really buying homes. You mentioned that you're buying a mobile home park right now. What size is that?
So it's a small one. It's only 12 units.
Cool.
We got this we stole this actually. I mean, this is an incredible deal. This is an absolutely incredible deal.
Yeah.
So, and it was somebody, somebody actually came to us with the numbers. We didn't even give them the numbers.
Nice.
They give us the numbers, and the seller's holding back half of the purchase price as well.
Nice.
And so it's a great deal, and it's a great deal for everybody. Great deal for them. Great deal for us. They did a certain amount of money right away, so we took care of that, and that's what makes this deal great.
Yeah. And where is that one located?
It's in Florida.
Okay. And what are your plans with that? Is it a value add, or is it just good as just hanging on to it?
We're going to hold on to it, just collect rent.
Cool.
And wait for the area to really come up, because that's an up-and-coming area.
Nice.
No doubt that's an up-and-coming area. In fact, I'm looking at a bunch of stuff in that area, and I'm not even going to tell you what town it is, because I don't want anybody buying it up. But I'll tell you, it's somewhere between Tampa and Siesta Keys. It's
Okay.
So that's what makes it. To me, that's what makes it even better. The fact that it's between Tampa and Siesta Keys, and it's going to be an incredible up and coming area.
Okay, nice. And so, like, what are the plans when it comes down to property management? Do you have systems in place and you do that, or what does that look like?
So I manage about a dozen of my properties now. Most of my other properties are managed by other people. And the only reason I manage a dozen properties still is because I actually like managing properties. I know it's weird, but the reason I don't manage them all is because there are dozens and dozens and dozens of properties. I just can't. So the ones that are within a half an hour of me, I manage myself. And the only reason I do that is for two reasons. One is I like it. And two is it keeps me in the game. So if I'm teaching people how to manage properties, I teach from experience. So I'll tell you a funny story. When I opened up investor schooling, I was teaching wholesaling.
Yep.
So before I opened investor schooling, you want to know how many wholesale deals I did?
I don't know. 0. Yeah.
Right. So
really living by experience on that one.
Well, exactly. So that was, it's like I felt like a fraud, right?
Okay.
So as soon as I opened up investor schooling, I opened up a wholesaling company.
Yeah.
And within 2 years, I did $1.2 million with the wholesale deals just to prove I could do it, and then I shut it down.
Okay. Are you still teaching wholesaling?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was funny because, I just like had to prove, I felt like a fraud. So I had to go out there and do exactly what I was teaching.
Yeah. Live by example. That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's talk to me. What other strategy, what else are you teaching these days in investor schooling?
So my favorite is creative financing. I mean, I love buying properties, creative financing. So when I buy a property, it's like funny. If people go like, no money down, I'm like, no money down. That's for amateurs, man.
Yeah.
I get money back.
I get money back, baby.
I get money back. So like,
I get paid.
For example, like the last property I bought was a commercial building. And I have a bunch of cars. Like I have a Model T and I have an MGB and I have an old Jaguar. So I need a place to put these cars. So I started looking around for a warehouse.
How many cars do you have?
Well, it's about 8 now. That's all
8? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
they're
sexy.
weird. They're really interesting cars.
Yeah. I love it.
You're right. Like I have a Shelby GT Mustang, an older one. So it's actually kind of cool. So anyway, I'm looking for a place with cars. It's about $300 per car to store them in storage. So to start to add up, right? So I'm looking for a warehouse. I find this warehouse, and this warehouse has 2 parts. It has a back part where I could put my cars, and there's a front part that's rented out. So I make an offer to the guy, and when I make the offer, he accepts the offer. I hand him absolutely nothing earnest money, absolutely no earnest money, right? And we go to closing. I walk in there with absolutely no money, no check, no nothing. I leave closing with $13,788. I put that in my pocket, and I still make about $250 a month off the front of the building.
Yeah.
And I save all that money on where my cars are. So
come on.
That's how you buy houses.
That's how you do it. Yeah. I love that. So what would you recommend? Because a lot of people get caught up on the front side, the cash, but if
you're almost thinking the wrong thing.
Yeah, it's a wrong mindset. So instead of focusing on the cash, you focus on the terms. And there's many different.
No. You're still amateur too.
Okay. Well, break it down to me, baby. What do you got?
Flat out. You ready?
Yeah.
Flat out. Forget money. Find deals.
Forget money, find deals. Yep.
That's it. Find it. This is what it happens to me all the time. Look at me. I'm not going to find a deal until I have the money. Well, how do you know how much money you need if you don't have a deal?
That's true. Yeah.
Then what are you going to do? You're going to tell your friend, hey, if I find, this is the typical conversation. Hey, Brandon, listen, Brandon, if I find a real estate deal that's a really good one, will you help fund it?
Yeah.
Then what do you
It's horrible.
You're going to say yes, right? Why not?
Yeah, sure.
Two things. Number one, with an attitude like that, obviously I'm not going to find anything.
Yeah.
On top of that, right, you're like, yeah, I'll just say yes because you're my friend. Sure. So
then keep it moving.
Then he goes, looks in the MLS and goes, hey, Brandon, I found this deal. This house is worth $300,000 and I could buy it for $295,000. Isn't that a great deal? What are you, an idiot?
Yeah.
So that's what pretty much happens with the way most people think. Stop thinking that. I'm going to tell you right now, if you find a good deal, the money will find you.
Yep.
Every time.
Yep. You can't be shy about it. You got to let other people know, like, hey, I got a deal here. Right. But yes, it will
exactly.
find you.
I mean, I have people fight over lending me money.
Yep.
That's the best. And sometimes I have to say no to somebody. Say, listen, I promise you the next deal.
Yep.
And then I call up and say, listen, I got a new deal. This is the deal. I promise you the deal. So here it is. Do you want it?
Yep.
And then they're like, yeah. Thanks. Then you have the problem. It's funny because then you have the problem where you pay a lender back. And the lender gets mad that you pay them back.
Yeah, they're like, no, just can you hang on to it? Can you do it again? Just hang on to it. Yeah.
Right. Because they're getting this check every month and they love it.
Yeah, that's true.
I got people that get so addicted to those checks.
Yep. Yeah, they start living off of it. It's perfect.
Absolutely.
So, but instead of, obviously OPM is the name of the game for all real estate investors. If you're not using OPM, you're doing it wrong, right?
Well, everybody's using OPM. You know that, right?
Yeah. It's other people's money. Yeah. It's either the bank's money or
the credit card's money or whatever.
Yeah.
If you go into your own bank account and take any money out, that's your money.
Oh yeah. Well, and there's people out there that do that, which is, I start crying.
Everybody has their own way of doing things.
Yeah.
That's
To
not
each
my way.
Yeah.
I mean, don't mock somebody who buys 20 properties cash.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's there's ways to do things. I would always be heartbroken when you could multiply it and get so much more.
They could do a lot better, but the guy buys 20 properties cash and he's living off that income. You know what? Maybe it ain't so bad.
Yeah, no, it's true. It is true. So when it comes down to, these deals, though, besides OPM, getting more on the creative side of terms and focusing on terms, like what are some of the things that you like to go over to really negotiate with the seller? Because you can obviously get percentage, how long it's going to be, down payment, carry back. Like, what do you really like to focus on to really set you up for an incredible win-win? You like to get paid out when you leave, which is always nice.
Yeah, that's fine. But here's the deal. If you're worried about you're not going to do any deals.
Of course.
You got to solve somebody's problem.
Yep.
So
always.
If you're solving a problem, you can't help them. And if you can't help them, you're either going to be greedy and and it's not going to work, or you're just not going to get the deal. Every time I go out to help somebody. That's all I'm doing is helping somebody. And if I can help them in their situation and make some money, great. If I can help them and not lose any money, I'll still do it. If I can help them and lose money, I'm saying, look, here's what I'm going to lose. If you want to contribute to that loss, that's fine. If not, I can't help you.
Yeah. It's good. So what are you focusing on now? What kind of lead generation do you actually have coming in to be able to get these deals?
That I kind of dropped all my lead generation. Mm-hmm. So I accidentally buy 3 to 4 properties every year now. I've slowed down a lot. Now, when I was when I did $1.2 million worth of wholesaling deals, right? I was sending out $15,000 worth of mail every month. So that was a big difference. Now I kind of they come to me now. People come to me. Some people come to me with deals and say, hey, do you want to partner on them? Some people come to me and say, hey, I got a house for sale, or my friend has a house for sale. Can you take care of them? And that's what I'm doing now. I mean, I don't need to. I'd love to. It's fun. But I don't need to buy anything else to live the rest of my life better than most people will retire now.
Yep.
In fact, my students joke. I said, if I closed investor schooling, I'd make more money. And the reason is because if I closed investor schooling, I'd have more time to lead generate. I'd have more time to look at more properties.
So what does it look like for your day-to-day with investor schooling? How many members do you have in there, and what does that look like? So
we taught over 400 people how to buy houses with absolutely no money so far. We probably, on an ongoing basis, we probably have about 120 active students, and it's fun. It's like Monday night we have a mastermind, Thursday we have a class. In fact, if you want to go take a class, you just go to investorschooling.com. You can take the class online or in person, and it's a great class. I mean, it's just great. We teach so many things. It's funny. Most people come here, they come here for real estate, learn how to buy real estate and learn how to trade stock options. And then within 3 months, they're like, holy crap, you teach that too? Holy crap, you teach that too? You teach that, you teach that, you teach that, you teach that. Because I can't list everything I teach. Because it's all about money. Like I wrote this book, it's called Money Hacks, right? So I wrote this book, Money Hacks, and the subtitle is because everything you think you know about money is wrong. And this is really the 50-foot overview, actually 50-foot overview of what we teach in investor schooling. Everything from how to buy cars the right way, how to take advantage of, things like government programs that are you're supposed to be taking advantage of. I'm not saying illegally, I'm saying legally take advantage of.
Yeah.
So Obamacare, I mean, most people don't even know how Obamacare works. They don't even know what it is, to be honest with you, which is the funniest thing. Because Obamacare is actually one of the greatest things that's ever happened to a small businessman.
In what way?
Because of the way you get the subsidy for your business. So I do this all the time. I'll ask people how much they pay for health insurance. Like I pay $1,500 to $1,800 a month for health insurance, and I'm like I pay $0 because I understand how it works. I understand why it works, and I understand what to do, and what happens if you make too much money and you have to pay it back, and how to pay it back. So there's a whole bunch of little pieces in here that you need to learn.
Okay, so basically you're saying you write off all your taxes, so you don't have any taxes, so then it makes it look like you're broke.
That's not necessarily true, but no. See, you don't know anything about Obamacare. You totally get it. You get a subsidy up to...
Well, educate me.
It's just it's a lesson in itself. It would take up more time than this entire webinar or this entire podcast. But I'll tell you what, part of it's in my book, and you can always go to investor schooling, learn some stuff there. It's just a lot of pieces that I have to show you to make you understand it. But the most important piece is the fact that, as a small businessman, you can't predict what you're going to make. So if you have the possibility of making $30,000 or less, then your premium is $0. If you make over $150,000, it's actually $162,000 at the end of the year, you'll have to pay back your subsidy. But if you tell them you're going to make $160,000 a year, right? you don't get a subsidy. But what happens if 3 months later something bad happened to you? Maybe you got unhealthy, maybe you got into a car accident, and you can't work and you don't make the money. You can't go back and get the subsidy. So I always get the subsidy and just pay it back.
That makes sense. Gotcha. Okay.
I know it's complicated. It's a lot to it, but it's complicated.
Yeah. So what are some of the ranges to become a member with you?
So for best of school, we have programs. So best thing to do is take the free class. We tell you, it's funny because people if they don't want to take the free class, we don't even want them as a student. Because the first thing you want to learn is how we teach, what we teach, and whether it's worthy for you. So we have programs that range full gamut. We have programs as much as $100,000, but we have a lot of programs that are obviously less than that too.
Yeah, gotcha. Cool, man. Well, let's get to it then. I want to hear about the trust. Talk to me about the trust setup and why you're putting a trust into each of the LLCs or each of the properties, not an LLC.
So every property should be bought in an individual trust, not in an LLC. So if you have an LLC that has 5 properties in it, all those properties are subject to the other properties. So if somebody sues you on one property, they can get the other 4.
Sure.
If they're in a trust, they're isolated. And if you set up your trust properly and make your beneficiary the LLC, now what happens is the property goes into the LLC and lets you do all the accounting inside the LLC, and you can get credit in your LLC, even though the LLC owns nothing.
Okay. So the LLC,
right?
LLC would be the holding company basically, and then you're putting a trust over each individual property, or you're putting
a holding company. It's the beneficiary of the trust.
Gotcha.
The trust is the holding company. This trust holds this property. This trust holds this property. This trust holds this property. This trust holds this, and all of the beneficiaries are LLC or multiple LLCs if you want to.
And you are putting an individual property in each trust, or you're putting multiple in each trust?
Only one.
Gotcha.
I want them isolated. I don't want anybody else to be able to touch that property.
Okay. And so an LLC, having one LLC underneath each property would not give you.
You could put each property into an individual LLC. That you can do it. Same exact thing. However, every time you create an LLC, it costs you money. Every time you create an LLC, you have to file tax returns in an LLC. That costs you money. So it's not worth it. The best thing to do is to have one LLC and have the trust, make the beneficiary of the trust, the LLC.
Well, the trust costs money to set up as well as annually to. So you're creating just online? I mean,
I could create a trust in 5 minutes. Matter of fact, I could create a trust by saying it.
Okay. So, and there's no annual fees for that? I know my trust there's annual fees.
Because you have a living trust with an EIN number.
Yep.
Because you went to an attorney.
Yep.
So you know the 2 people who know the least about real estate and the 2 people who know the least about real estate in the world? Realtors and real estate attorneys.
Yeah. My real estate attorney has a lot of real estate.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see how much he actually knows, though. Well, this is just one of the. It's funny because I'll have discussions with estate planning attorneys, which is probably what we went to. I'll have discussions with estate planning attorneys all the time, and they say, living trust, and I go, listen, this is what I do. I put my properties in a separate trust, and I make the beneficiary my LLC. And I swear, they go, why in the world would you do that? And then I explain to them, and they go, that's a really good idea. I'm like, if it's a really good idea, why aren't you telling your clients this?
And then as far as my properties go, the income and expenses, they're all held into another, like a real estate holding company, LLC. So, so all the ones that are holding all my properties, I'm not paying any taxes or filing or anything because it's just a through entity.
How many properties do you have in one LLC?
One in each one.
You have an LLC in each property?
Yep.
I'm sorry, you have a property in each LLC?
Yeah.
Okay, is this a serial LLC?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Individual.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're not paying money to create these LLCs. Each one of them doesn't have an EIN number.
No, they do. So Inc. file, it's like $200 to $300 one time.
Each year.
One time.
So what happens at the end of the year? You have to file a return on an LLC.
No, it's a through entity. Yeah, it's a pass-through entity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not a serial LLC? It might be a serial LLC.
No, it's not. No, we wanted to stay away from that because it's really only good in like Ohio or certain other states. It's not going to help
six states.
Exactly. Yeah, I have properties in Arizona, California, Ohio, and New Jersey. And
so you're passing through all your LLCs to your personal return?
We're going to a holding company, which goes into the trust, living trust and revocable trust that owns life insurance and all that stuff.
I got you. I don't know how you have it set up because I'd have to see the structure. Yeah. And that's okay. It's not, I mean, it sounds like, looks like most of it is good, But I would just be careful that you're able to isolate everything.
Yeah. It looks like a mafia chart almost, like one of those.
I know. I draw them. I talk to people about them all the time. Look, more power to the people who create that stuff. I don't think it's all that necessary. I mean, I think it's necessary when you have, $50 million or $200 million or $1 billion in assets. It's definitely necessary. But if you have, 5 million, 10, okay.
Yeah, I have 8.5 million. So we started trying to get our shit together last couple of years, and I feel like we're getting there.
You're preparing for the future. That's fine.
Yeah, just in case.
8.5, I don't think you need it, but that's fine.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing to do.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I love it. It's always good to hear from an OG in the game of real estate and hear all the, any learning curves that you've gone through besides, the ones that you listed before that you think is a big wow that maybe in the current season that we're kind of going into, nobody's got that crystal ball. But for anybody that's brand new or, more not as seasoned as you, anything that you would like to leave with the listeners?
Learn creative strategy now and have cash put aside. Because you have no idea, it's going to, I'm telling you, 2025 will be 2008. And if you're the guy standing here knowing how to buy it, you're going to kick ass.
Yeah.
It's going to be the greatest thing you'll ever be able to do, taking properties over subject to, buying them with creative financing, short sales, if you know how to navigate them properly. And just everything out there is going to be great if you are paying attention and know how to get money. Get as much credit as you can. I mean, it looks like you're doing that. Get as much credit as you can. Get as much access to money as you can. And make sure that you are on top of the game.
Yeah, it's so good. I can't stress this enough. I truly believe that you should get into real estate now. If you didn't get in yesterday, get in today. Don't wait till tomorrow or the next year when interest rates go down. If you can make money on a deal today, which you can, then let's say the interest rates go up, you've already locked in, you're saving yourself. If interest rates go down like they're projected to next year, then you can cash out, refinance. But know this, when the interest rates do go down, it's going to be a buying frenzy. Everybody's going to come in that's been waiting on the sidelines that can start affording it. But then everybody's going to be bidding up the small little supply that we have on the market. So the prices are just going to go up crazy. So if you can understand creative real estate and really start deep diving into that today, and whatever you got to do to get your foot in the door today, it's going to set you up with truly generational wealth and the longevity of things.
You haven't been through your first recession yet.
I know.
I've been through 3.
Yeah.
Wait.
Just wait. Yeah. Yep. So that's why I'm stacking up, baby. I'm stacking up cash flow, and I'm stacking up.
So the credit
credit. Be prepared.
I have almost $1 million worth of credit, right? Now, what's going to happen in a recession is all those credit card companies are going to cut my credit probably in half.
Yep.
But I'll still have $500,000. So this is why you got to get as much credit as you can now, because when they cut you off, you have it. You also want to. It sounded like you were using whole life insurance for independent banking.
Yep.
You want to make sure you have whole life insurance policies. And here's the craziest part. You want to borrow all the money out of it, and then you want to, don't repay the money, overfund it, and make the loan bigger.
Yep.
You want to make these loans as big as possible, because here's the really weird part. If you get into trouble, you put that money back into the policy because you repaid a loan, and the government can't touch that money, and the bankruptcy can't touch that money, and creditors can't touch that money, and now you hid your money right back into a place where it's legal to hide it.
Yep. So you're protected. Yeah, which is good. I got 3 policies right now, and I'm looking to get more. So it is one of those things.
Excellent.
Well, Larry, I appreciate you greatly, my friend. Thank you for making this happen and jumping on and giving back to the audience. How can anybody listening actually be able to reach out to you and be able to hear more about what you got going on?
So probably the easiest way to find me is contactlarry.com. So just go to contactlarry.com. And you can reach me and reach everything. You can also click the QR code that's been sitting up there for all this time, and it'll take you to, I think it takes you to the same place, actually. And then you can also look me up at LarrySteinhouse.com or InvestorSchooling.com. And I promise you're going to learn some incredible stuff if you come take a free class this Thursday.
Oh, is it every Thursday?
Well, every Thursday, but you only get one free one.
Ooh, that's good. That's good. Take advantage of that, guys. Don't miss out. It's going to be an incredible opportunity for you guys.
Absolutely.
And if you want to get a hold of me, you can always do so on Instagram. It's Brandon Elliott Investments. Otherwise, on Instagram, it's creditcounselelite.com. Or sorry, Credit Counsel Elite on Instagram. But feel free to check out facebook.com/Brandon Elliott Investor. And if you haven't already sat down with our team, we have a 10, 15 minutes video on our website, creditcounselelite.com, where you can get more educated on how the banks and lenders are judging you, how to be able to get up to $500K every 6 months at 0% interest. And so you can diversify and grow it into real estate. And like Larry and I both are mentioning, stack up on credit today.
Absolutely.
So that you don't mess up and that you're fully prepared.
You
So,
might have more than me.
yeah, I got 3. I got a little over 3 right now.
That's
But,
incredible. Good luck. That's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So by all means, guys, go on creditcounselelite.com. Watch that quick video. It's going to answer a lot of your questions, come up with new questions as well to ask on a call with us. You can book a one-on-one call to get just a second opinion and see how we can best serve you, okay? We'll see you guys on the next episode. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. What are you waiting for? Do that today. You'll get the newest reminder notification every Monday when the new episode drops. And then leave that 5-star review. It greatly, it means the world to us. So love you guys all so much. We'll see you on the next one. Till next time, God bless. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate you.
Take care, man. Appreciate you too.
This has been another episode of Ready, Set, Go Real Estate Investing Podcast, brought to you by Brandon Elliott. For more information, please visit BrandonElliottInvestments.com. Also, please don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Thanks again for joining. Until next time, God bless.